What's up guys, and welcome again to another video. In this video I want to discuss with you a topic that I believe is very important. I don't see a lot of videos out there talking about what actually happens behind the curtains from the moment you land a client or the moment somebody shows interest in your services until the moment you land them and they become your client. I see a lot of videos focusing on getting the client, which is of course a very important step in getting any business, but I want to discuss here with you if you actually manage to land any discovery calls or people interested to listen to you, how the process works, and maybe some of the pitfalls that I fell to in the past. So hopefully you can also avoid these pitfalls and mistakes. So if you're here for the first time, my name is Serop. I've been working in data science and machine learning for over 7 years now. And for the last year, I started freelancing and I started my AI automation agency. In these videos, I try to explain what is actually happening behind the scenes, what are the stuff that I managed to sell, how I managed to consult my clients, how I managed to build AI products. I just want to clarify something because I see in the comments, sometimes I do make mistakes, sometimes I do say wrong things. So I really appreciate when people point out these important informations in the comment and I try to pin them so for everybody to see. So please treat the comment section as a community to share knowledge and resources. Again, I'm just a one person trying to learn every day and trying to run this business. And running a business is very difficult. And there's a lot of different steps and a lot of different regulations and a lot of different information that I'm probably missing. So don't take everything I say as 100% accurate. I really appreciate for the people who take the extra effort to do some extra research and try to educate the other people in the comments. So yes, thank you so much for that. And I'm looking forward to talk to you in the comments. So in the past, I noticed that I've been trying to talk freely about certain topics and my mind is sometimes like goes in different directions. So I decided to create some Google Slides for us to make the message a little bit more clearer, and hopefully you can also follow up easier than me just talking freely to the camera, which is a little bit difficult to organize my thoughts sometimes. I broke down this topic into the different sections that I believe are important. So a lead, in my opinion, is somebody who already knows something about you, potentially could be interested in your services. You have like a stranger, then they became a lead, and then they become a warm lead, and then they become a client after you talk to them and onboard them. So here are basically the way I think about this whole topic. And these are the different sections that I decided to break this down. So we're going to be talking about the lead onboarding. So if somebody's interested in your service, what happens from this interest until the discovery call, what happens in the discovery call, like what questions you should ask, what requirements you should gather. And then you have the proposal phase. This is usually happens offline. So after you get off the phone, we're going to be talking about this proposal phase, what actually goes into that, maybe a little bit of details about the contracts and payments, what I would recommend, what I have been doing in the past, and how to avoid certain pitfalls here, and how to build the automations in N8N. Like, for example, I get a lot of questions about who owns the account, how do I contribute to the account, do I build it on my infrastructure and I send it to my client. So we're going to clarify some of the stuff here. And finally is the delivery and handover, like what actually happens from the moment you think the project is finished, who owns the project, also like intellectual property and stuff like that. I'm not going to go too deep into all these topics. I just want to like highlight some of the topics for you. And so you just have that in your radar and know like, okay, this thing exists. Maybe I should look it up more intensively. We can start with the lead onboarding. So as you know, there's like two channels, the way clients can find you, either an inbound. It's usually if you're creating content, if you have a really good SEO game on your website, they find out about you somehow, they want to contact you, they want to book an appointment with you, which in my opinion, this is one of the best lead generation methods because these people already know you. YouTube is a great way because they also heard your voice, they maybe like your video, they like you as a person as well. So I think YouTube is a great way to get these kind of inbound leads. LinkedIn also works sometimes. I've heard a lot of people getting clients through medium.com, this like article writing platform where you write about a certain topic and then clients can find you there because they appreciate your knowledge and expertise. There are many ways to do this. Also Reddit communities. I've received some clients from Reddit where I write about a certain topic and people reach out, and these people, they're not just random people. Some of them are business owners who, like me and you, are also using YouTube and using Reddit. And if they like what somebody is saying, they will reach out to you. So this is the most reliable way to get very warm leads. So you don't need to sell so much because these guys kind of appreciate you. They want to work with you already. So it makes the sales a little bit easier. Outbound, this is the hardest one, in my opinion. This is where you either send out a bunch of cold emails, like blast emails on people that you think would be interested in your services. After you define your niche and all this kind of stuff and find out who is my ideal client profile, then you start doing some outbound. In my experience, the email outbound is could be effective. I actually hired people who reached out to me by email if I saw that they provided some nice value. But here, the main point is you need to provide so much value before you even ask anything. So crafting the email is like an art by itself, and there's a lot of ways to do it correctly. Right now, I see a lot of people sending outbound as a nice little video, like on Loom, where they create a video talking how they can help you. So I do appreciate that, but I also know that now people are creating these videos with AI, and I can notice this because I'm in some outbound AI automation communities, and I know how to make these videos. If somebody send me this, I know like, hey, this is AI generated, and then it loses all its value. Especially if you're contacting somebody who is, I don't know, has a YouTube channel or somebody who gets a lot of of these emails. Make sure to be authentic. Just send them something that you actually made. Don't use AI for everything, and people appreciate this human touch. I'm telling you from a business owner, if somebody send me something that they actually did themselves, I really appreciate it and probably would hire them to do certain things. Let's say you got an inbound lead and then you actually book them on a discovery call. Discovery call usually are for free. Some people charge for them. I put them out for free. And the main goal here is to, even before the call, is maybe gather some information like, why are you booking an appointment with me? What is the reason behind this? You can add a lot of different questions as a lead qualification, like what is the budget? If you go to my website, you can actually see this. I ask for the budget. I ask for what is the project about. This helps me identify if this person is a good fit for me. A lot of people maybe want to book an appointment with you who it could be they're going to waste your time. They are maybe not ready to invest. They don't have the budget. So you can, based on these information, filter whether you don't want to even meet them. And that's actually okay because it saves you time and headache. So yeah, before you even book the appointment, make sure to add some qualification. In the past, I added like maybe 6 different questions, and a client actually answered all the 6 of them, and he actually complained. He was like, bro, like that was so long. I want to work with you and I'm happy that I did, but please just reduce them. That was like very annoying to do. So yeah, put something within the reason, maybe 3 questions, budget and stuff like this works usually, and at least give you an idea to be a little bit more prepared entering this discovery call. What actually happens in the discovery call, this is very important. The first thing that you need to do is understand the pain points. You're going to get 2 type of clients, a client who already have very high pain points and they know exactly what solution might solve it. That doesn't mean that this solution is the best solution for that problem. You should be the judge of that. That's why they're coming to you. So you should be telling them, yeah, this could be a solution, but I see a better option doing something like that. Something else, for example. So don't feel like you're obliged to just go with what the client is saying. You can consult them, tell them like, hey, this is what I believe, but you're the boss. We do what you say, but I would recommend going that way. So this is basically where you gather the pain points. I also wrote some very important points. If you're starting fresh, somebody comes at you, hasn't built anything in the past, they want to build an MVP, you don't have to ask so many questions. Okay, we're building everything from scratch. But usually you're going to get, maybe when you start going to a little bit bigger clients, they have tech stacks, they have tools, they have teams, they have so many processes already in place that you cannot just build like your end-to-end automation and say like, okay, here you go. You need to integrate it with all these different components. I usually let them just dump the whole business case on the plate. Tell me everything about basically what is going on. And then I try to understand, okay, what are the connection points to whatever we're trying to do? And here you're just trying to understand, yeah, everything basically regarding what needs to be done and how things are connected. I agree that 30 minutes is not enough for this. So usually we just try to go with the highest priority stuff that they want right now, understand basically the business and the stuff that goes into it, and then recommend whether it's like AI is needed at all. Like I received recently a call where AI was not even needed, but the client would benefit a lot just from digitalization and automation of the different processes. Guys, don't use AI for everything. You can solve maybe 50%, 60% of people's and businesses' problems that they are facing right now, even with just simple automation. You need to see like, okay, can we automate it? Do we need AI? And yeah, this tip is to collect these kind of important stuff, information before you enter. This would help you prepare better. So after you gather all these information, sometimes, of course, I would recommend adding these note taker bots, because especially if you're having a lot of these meetings, you can get lost immediately. Like you don't remember anymore. Like I think with 10 leads that are telling you about 10 different problems, you're already lost. So you try to use these bots to your meeting, record them, and then the AI keeps these notes for you. So I would highly recommend them. I think I'm using Fathom. It's for free, and I'm quite happy with their summary and everything. So yeah, try to use that as well. It definitely helps. Right now, you're doing the work behind the scenes. You gathered all these requirements, and you need to start to map out what can you do for them. And depending on their business side, like if they come at you with a project like, hey, we want to build this MVP, for example, then you map out like how to build this MVP. Let's have a look. So after the discovery call, you want to map out the process. This usually happens for the slightly bigger clients, like maybe mid-size companies like e-commerce or mid-size digital marketing agencies. If they have different processes, you need to map it out, define like the logic, just to understand how the business interacts, how the different components interact with each other. And yeah, here, as I said, like maybe you don't need AI agents at all. You can just do automation. And then you can identify, like, from what you saw here, what is the best tool that can solve this problem. This is also a recommendation for people who are a little bit junior that are listening to this podcast. Don't obsess over tools. Tools are just tools. They are just ways for means. Obsess over principles, obsess over understanding concepts. This is way more important than just a tool. You don't just learn N8N and you can build a solution. You need to learn maybe programming or programming best practices or system design. This is more important than just learning, oh, I just learned N8N or OpenAI. All these APIs, they just come and go. And I've learned and switched programming languages about maybe 5 times in my career. You end up working with the one that you like the most and that is most efficient for you to solve a problem. But yeah, don't obsess over the tools and all this kind of stuff. But if you see that most of their tech stack is just like a bunch of Google Sheets and stuff like this, and they don't want to migrate to like a platform or something, you can use N8N, you can use make.com. It has some easier integration with these kind of stuff. I think also I mentioned in my past videos, I need to correct myself. I think I mentioned that make.com send the data to the US. I was absolutely wrong by that. And this is what I mentioned about, I love that people correct me in the comments because we want to spread knowledge in this community. I don't know everything about everything. And I looked it up because that person said like, no, actually you can keep the data in the AU, and that's actually correct. Make.com, you can also do the same thing as N8N. So feel free to choose whatever fits the best for your client's needs. I actually like make.com because it has way more integrations and tools than N8N. N8N, they're still trying to add stuff to it. So yeah, experiment with both and don't decide for the tool that is trending right now. Decide for the tool that you feel more confident with. That's what I would recommend. So after you define like the whole logic, how the business actually work and how you can automate it. So like where can we put the N8N components? Where do we need to put AI agents? Where do we maybe don't need AI agents? Your goal is to just, for me, for example, I like to do a flow diagram. This is, again, for bigger clients when there's so many things interacting with each other. But for smaller clients, you just maybe write a sentence or like one pager of deliverables. Here, you need to be very specific for your own sake, because you need to identify when is the project finished. The worst thing that can happen to you is you have something that is vague, and then the client keep pushing and pushing and pushing and stalling. And then you're just sitting there and it's like, I just want to close this project so I can maybe focus on someone else. Especially if you offered fixed pricing for the project. This really hurts your bottom line. It really hurts your hourly rate. So either from day one, just say, hey, I only use hourly rate. That's what I actually suggested here. Especially for new projects. Let's say you're building a new platform you've never done before. You don't know how much it's going to take. Just say hourly rate, give an estimate. It's like, hey, I think we can do this in maybe 100 hours. This is my hourly rate. And this is what I think the project is going to cost. But if we end up having some hurdles or blockers, which you're always going to have, make sure to be a little bit more flexible. And most clients are okay with that, as long as you're transparent and they trust you and they know you're ethical and you're not doing things like to screw them over or whatever. They're usually okay with this. But yeah, I would recommend that. I think it's even really big agencies who are been doing this for years. I have a very close friend of mine who has a very, very strong software development agency. It's called Upside. It's a Polish company. Feel free to check them out as well. Upside.io. They do stuff for e-commerce for really big clients, like way bigger scale than me. But even he was telling me like, yeah, we do like hourly pricing because it was really difficult to estimate the hours, and there's always hurdles in when things happen. So I would definitely recommend you doing hourly rate. So what actually happens? You send a proposal and then they accept the proposal or they decline the proposal, or what usually happens, you negotiate the scope. So let's say you said, I'm going to build you a platform. The feature is going to be A, B, and C. Are you okay with this? It's going to cost you this amount. For clients who maybe are looking for something cheaper, or you just mentioned something that doesn't align with their needs, they would tell you, no, actually, can we remove this feature B if it's costing so much money? I'm okay with just feature A and C. And this is where it goes back and forward for the proposal. Once you both agree, it's like, okay, this is the final proposal. This is what I think the deliverables will be. Now it's the time for sending the contract. Before you do any work, before you even start working on a project, I would recommend also to send a contract and get paid 50% or something, 50% is usual, but yeah, you can also get less. This is just, for example, if you're outsourcing some of the work and you don't want to pay it upfront, this helps covering these kind of costs, also covering some costs for the API keys, for the platforms. You need to also be upfront about this. Either you pay it from your own pocket and then you be reimbursed by the client. Let's say you're paying for OpenAI key and the client hasn't created one yet. You can gather the receipts and then send it to the client and say, hey, this is how much we incurred in cost. Can you please reimburse us? But before you start, yeah, make them sign the contract. And now you're technically in business and collect 50% deposit before starting the development. I really recommend this, especially when you're starting out. Oh my God, I met around maybe 50 people so far, like actually clients who wanted to work with me. And I would say maybe 10-20% of them, especially when you're starting out and you're dealing with like maybe founders or people with limited budgets or small businesses, you're gonna meet a lot of fakers. You're gonna meet a lot of people who don't actually pay you, who disappear, who ghost you after maybe you build the MVP for them. So guys, please, yeah, don't do the same mistakes. Get 50% deposit before you start. If they are not willing to do so, I understand how it feels to be really desperate for money and desperate for work, especially when you're starting out. But believe me, it's even more painful to do the work and then somebody disappears, or they get your work and they disappear. And maybe also when you're starting out, you don't even have a contract in place. I've seen it all. I've done it all. Just do it right. It will save you so much headache. 50% deposit and a contract. Building the automation. This is the fun part. You can use whatever tools that are at your disposal. Maybe in the beginning, if they have like a very specific, maybe CRM, you can check which tools integrate with the CRM already. So you don't need to build these custom APIs. That will save you so much time and headache. Usually make.com has a lot of good integrations with different CRMs, with different tools, and you can then decide what to build this for. The nice part about building with N8N and make.com is that it comes with a cloud. So you build something that is already hosted and it saves you from hosting these things on maybe Google Cloud or AWS if you want to build it with Python and other like coding languages. But of course, there's a limitation. So sometimes the client wants something very specific, or you're dealing with a large amount of data that maybe N8N or make.com cannot handle this amount of data, or it becomes really costly to handle this amount of data. So here's where you kind of check how much. This is also one of the questions you ask in the qualification and the requirement gathering. How much data are we expecting? What is the volume? Who's using this software? How often the people going to use the software? So this would give you maybe a little bit of idea which tool to use. But let's say you decided to go with N8N. What I would recommend is create an account for your client. You can also join the affiliate program, so you can send them an affiliate link, ask them to create an account. So it is already hosted for them. You don't need to worry about hosting and all this kind of stuff. And let me actually show you, because I've seen a lot of people also asking this question. So I just wanted to show you something real quick. So this is my N8N account. And what you can do, let's say your client creates an N8N account. And I got a lot of questions is like, how do we collaborate on a project on N8N? So if you go to the projects and you ask your client to go on the project setting, they can add you here as a member. You can create like a project member, add your account, like search for like an email and then send a request. And then you become a project member of this particular project. And then here in this project, you start adding the workflows. And you also ask your client to maybe create these credentials here. This only works if your client is a little bit tech savvy, can do the stuff themselves. I don't know of an easier way to do this. I've done it also in the past when I shared my screen and then I walked them through the process. But usually most people, if you send them a good YouTube tutorial of like how to create a credential, usually like the Google ones are the most annoying ones. It's literally just like a sign in and then you have a credential. For example, I did today with ClickUp. It was super easy. It's just like you sign in and then it's done. So you tell them to add these and then to share these credentials with you. And in that way, the credentials stay with the client, with his account, and you just have access to these credentials, which I think is quite a good way to just share resources. All right, and now you basically done the work. The client is happy. You reached every milestone that you defined, like every deliverable. And then you tell them, hey, do you believe based on the deliverables, we have now accomplished the project? Is it done? And if the client says yes, thank you so much, you start to do the handover. There are multiple different ways to do handovers. I showed you if you create it with N8N, the client has the account, the client has the access. So that's why I think is the cleanest way to do things. You just come in, do your thing and leave. And then you can either stay as a collaborator if the client wants, or they can actually delete your access overall. So you don't have access to the account anymore. So it depends on the client. What do they want? But I usually do like a handover call, especially if I build like a complicated workflow. I walk them through it. Some people are interested. Just ask them. You don't have to walk them through the flow if they're not interested. A lot of people are really excited about AI agents and they want to see how it works under the hood. So could be something interesting for them to see the actual workflow in N8N or whatever tool you use. But here are some also interesting remarks regarding bigger clients versus smaller clients. So let's say you build something with an 8N for a bigger client, but usually bigger clients also ask for platforms. So they come to you and they say, hey, I want to build a platform. I want to build a real estate platform. I want to build a sales platform or whatever, which is AI powered. And usually a platform, you can use N8N as a like the back end of this platform, but also sometimes you use Python. And whatever you use, you need to host it somewhere if you're not using like a cloud provider that hosts this. And here is typically the difference that you hear, like, we have a retainer. So usually what that means when a bigger client say a retainer, it means that you are offering support. Let's say you developed a platform and you're hosting it somewhere on the cloud. The client doesn't want to see anything. Like the client just want the product and they want you to handle everything regarding technical issues or anything regarding this platform. And they would actually tell you, okay, if you do the whole maintenance and you do the whole support, and let's say you're in charge of the cloud, like they give you access to the cloud to always check for problems and stuff like this. This is when people say monthly retainer, but I haven't seen any smaller clients offering monthly retainers. Oh yeah, it's usually important for like infrastructure if you're handling the stuff yourself. This, I would say, yeah, ask for a retainer when you're doing such a thing. Smaller clients usually ask for ad hoc support. Like they would pay you for the hour. If let's say I had this case in the past where like something broke down and then the client were asking like, hey, can you come and solve this real quick? Because we're having some issues, they change something and then some errors start to happen. And here where you do like ad hoc support, you just jump in, solve it, get paid for like this 1 hour or whatever, and then you leave again. And then because you gave the handover to the client and the client is doing the whole management. Both things work. Try them both. Usually I give the client the option, would you like this or would you like that? Usually, yeah, bigger clients would prefer a retainer to make sure that things are going. They cannot afford things to break down. They cannot afford a system to be down. So that's why it's very important. Smaller clients, they maybe don't care, or they do care, but they don't have the budget. It's all about the budget at the end of the day. They don't have the budget to pay you on a monthly fixed hourly rate. All right, so I hope you really like this video. I hope you now have slightly better understanding of what actually the different steps are from the moment somebody wants to book an appointment with you until the moment where they become your client, and even afterwards, what actually happens afterwards. I hope you really enjoyed this video and you found some value of at least understanding what's actually is gonna happen after you land your first client, or maybe you've been doing these steps for quite some times and you notice like you're missing a piece or you're missing a part that you haven't been doing so far with your clients. If you find value in this video, I appreciate that you leave a like and a comment. I try to answer every comment, and I love when people try to reach out and when people try to collaborate. So feel free to write comments, write your experience, and let me know what kind of videos would you like me to create in the future. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.